You probably want to know why I'm wearing a Charlotte Hornets hat. It's because I'm going all in on Trey Man for week 3 of the fantasy basketball season. He is still available in far too many leagues, and if you have him on your roster, you might want to consider holding him. We believe every NBA fan that plays fantasy football should also play fantasy basketball. So I'm super hyped about Trey Man. I mean, I know they had some injuries in Charlotte and it's a little bit of runway for him to create some value, but he's somebody that I see people dropping in certain places. And I want to make sure, especially in those shallow leagues, that if you can figure out a way to keep him on your roster, how that could just benefit you long term. I think that he'll still have value when the Hornets are fully healthy, so see if you can just stay patient. And we're also going to run through a bunch of other waiver wire pickups that you want to consider for week 3. So let's jump right into the value and get to it. So we talked about Trey Man. For ESPN leagues, he's only rostered in 34.5% of leagues. He's somebody that has been producing for you if you have him on your roster. And again, like I said earlier, I think even when Brandon Miller is back and the Hornets are fully healthy, he could be a valuable asset. But here's the thing you want to keep in mind. If LaMelo Ball goes down, which he has historically over the last couple of years been banged up, if he goes down, that could lead to all kinds of just super increased value for this young man. So be patient, ride it out. And I know especially my players who are in 8-team leagues, 10-team leagues, that you gotta stream. So you might drop him here and there. If you can figure out a way to hold on, I think that he might be a good long-term play. But at any point in the season, we'll keep you posted if that changes. But as of right now, for week 3, this is a player that I would consider a must hold. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your #1 source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, NHL to entertainment and political props. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. The next player we want to talk about is another guy that folks are quite interested in, and someone who has been on the radar. I just want to make sure we say his name so we don't forget him as we push through. I'm talking about last week and maybe the last couple of weeks, one of the most popular guys in fantasy basketball, your boy, Dyson Daniels. So I know you're hearing this name, but he was banged up recently. He was out for a couple of games. So he might have got dropped in your league. If he got dropped, I would go ahead and grab him. I think Dyson Daniels is a long-term hold as of right now, so don't sleep. On the season, he is averaging 30 minutes per game. What? Let that sink in. Your man is getting the minutes. 13 points a game, 4.4 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and check this out. 2.2 steals per game. Top is off, boobies is out, hair blowing in the wind. So he is a hold. Don't get too sexy and fancy. Try to drop him and see if you can get him later. Just hold on to him and see if it works. Now, the next player we're going to talk about is someone that folks aren't talking about as much, and it's probably who you came here to hear about. Listen, I always say these young players have the upside. So you get older guys on your team, people that you know about, you've had on the roster, Al Horford, Bobby Portis, Jeremy Grant, all of these kind of players you have on your rosters. But these young guys, there's no telling where their ceiling is. And the guy we want to talk about is from the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm talking about Jaylen Wells. Yes, Mr. Jaylen Wells. Only rostered in 0.8. Huh? Where they do that at? 0.8% of ESPN leagues. What? He is widely available. Now check this out. As you probably know, the Grizzlies are super, super banged up. Desmond Bane, banged up. Marcus Smart, banged up. Jaren Jackson Jr., they're ramping him up, right? Ja Morant might take a game off here and there. So there's going to be opportunity for some of these other Memphis Grizzlies players, and Jaylen Wells is right in that area. On the season, your man is averaging 24.9 minutes per game. Over the last 7 days, 28 minutes per game. So he's getting the minutes. Like we say all the time, for fantasy basketball points leagues, this is a nugget. If you're new to fantasy, listen close. If these guys are getting the minutes, like 25, north of 25 minutes per game, these are people you want to pay attention to, because eventually in a points league, minutes can lead to production, right? So Jaylen Wells, although he's someone that folks aren't really talking about, right? Like, I don't know, maybe you're in a super advanced league or a really deep league, maybe you guys are talking about him. Most people in 10s and 12s are not talking about him right now. So this is the kind of guy you want to kind of sneak in, grab him, throw him on your roster, and see how things play out this week if you can. Over the last 7 days, he's averaging 12.8 points per game, 4.8 rebounds, 2.3 assists, less than a steal, less than a block. So it's really his scoring. You get some rebounds from him as well. I think this is someone you want to take a look at for this week and maybe for the short term until folks really come back from those injuries. The next player we want to talk about is someone that should be on a roster and not rostered enough, in my opinion. I'm talking about from the Orlando Magic, Wendell Carter Jr. Now, Wendell Carter Jr. is banged up right now, but definitely somebody, if you have an IR spot that you can spare, you can throw him in there. Over the last 7 days, he's averaging 23 minutes per game. On a season, 26.3 minutes per game. And with the news that Paolo Banchero is going to be out for a while, this is the kind of player that can take advantage of that opportunity. So for me, if I can hold him while he's banged up, I'm not sure of the severity of his injury, but it looks like it's a strain, like a left foot strain. So he might be back soon. Again, if you can't manage it and you don't have an IR spot to hold him right now, then I wouldn't mess with it. But definitely someone you want to monitor if you're unable to grab him right now, at least to see, when he's going to be healthy so you can throw him on your roster. Next up, someone who has been cooking with hot bacon grease. Somebody that I was super high on last year, not as high on this year because he plays for Houston, and there are just a lot of mouths to feed. I mean, Ime Udoka out here looking like the Octomom, like he got 8 babies he trying to feed. With that said, let's check out your man, Tari Eason. Tari Eason had a huge game the other night. He went absolutely ballistic. I picked him up in one of my leagues, and he went nuclear. He ended up with 27 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, and check this out, 4 steals. Where they do that at? And I'm not done. Listen close. This is even better. 3 blocks. Total of 7 defensive stats. For ESPN, he's getting 4 points a pop for them joints. For Yahoo, he's getting 3 points a pop for them joints. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to these defensive players. And also, throwing in the 27 and 9 is just remarkable. Before that, he was also having good games. So it's not like he just popped off on the second against Golden State. He also had some decent games before that. So in the last 7 days, he's averaging 25.3 minutes per game, 16 points per game, 6 rebounds a game, 1.7 assists, 2 steals, and 1.3 blocks. Definitely, again, a younger player, somebody that's gonna give you that, gonna have that upside. And I think one thing I've watched with Ime Udoka over the years, no matter how young the player is, if they're putting up numbers and they're producing, he tries to give folks the opportunity. So I think this could be a really good springboard for Tari Eason to kind of get into a place where he's getting over 25 minutes to get the kind of production that will make him fantasy relevant. Next up on this list, someone that is banged up right now. It looks like he has a shoulder injury, but again, very similar to Wendell Carter Jr. If you can grab him and hold, throw him in your IR, that would be great, but I think he's going to be back pretty soon. I'm talking about another Charlotte Hornets player, your man, Nick Richards. Nick Richards is having a great season. When I tell you, he's getting the minutes. On the season, he's averaging 27.6 minutes per game, 11 rebounds. 11 points and 10 rebounds. So he's averaging a double-double on the season. And also, he's chipping in, check this out, 2.4 blocks per game. Your man is cooking, yo. So I know there's an injury to Williams right now, which is giving him this opportunity. But, hey, like, just ride the wave, man. Just ride the wave. I think your man is going to continue to produce as long as he's getting this amount of minutes. If you love this community and you want to invest in what we are building, please consider becoming a paid subscriber. Think about it like treating me to a coffee and a bagel once a month. Becoming a paid subscriber will grant you access to our MVP Discord channel, priority DM and email replies, and priority Rate My Team episodes. And most importantly, your support will help us to keep creating content. You are not obligated or expected to pay anything to be a part of this community, but there are expenses associated with running this operation, and your support will help us keep this going for years to come. To get started, visit believeinfantasy.com, enter your email, and select the level of support that works best for you. Next up is a player that I was really high on last year, and now he's just totally taken off from the Washington Wizards, Bilal Coulibaly. Yeah, man's in them. That's Wemby's that's Victor Wembanyama's old teammate, his running mate from France. And he has all of the skills, and the talents that would lead to him being a productive, not just fantasy basketball player, but an NBA player in general. And he's so young that there's going to be room for growth and opportunity there. So he's definitely someone that you want to keep an eye on. And recently, he's been absolutely torching. So on the 30th of October against Atlanta, he had 27 points, 9 rebounds, 3 steals, 1 assist. Just on the 2nd against Miami, he played 33 minutes, 22 points, 8 rebounds. So he's kind of coming into his own. And the thing that the thing that really stands out to me is that he's averaging 34 minutes per game on the season, which is huge. Again, that's what you're looking for. He's also averaging 19 points on the season, 6.2 rebounds, 2.6 assists, 1.2 steals. So he's definitely rolling right now, and he is available in a bunch of leagues. So if he's still hanging around on your waiver wire, you might want to grab yourself some Bilal Coulibaly. The next player, I would say it's not a sexy name, but the more I look at this guy's stats and how he's producing this season, man, he's like Justin Timberlake, like bringing sexy back. Like your man from the Boston Celtics. I don't believe I'm even like giving you this pitch, but I would check for this guy. I'm talking about Peyton Pritchard. Yes, Peyton Pritchard. He's averaging on the season 28 minutes per game, 15.7 points, 3 rebounds, 2.6 assists, 1.3 steals. Rostered in only 30% of ESPN leagues. He's probably being used as a waiver wire kind of stream. He's somebody you might want to let sit on your roster a little bit. Your man is definitely surprising me, and I love that he's getting this amount of minutes. It's really, really a nice signal to show that he's going to be producing on this level. So hopefully he'll keep it going. I'm not sure exactly what the plan is for him long term, but as of right now, definitely a player you want to keep a lookout for in week 3. Next player is one of my favorite players to speak about. Have not done any takes on him this week. Taking making takes on him might not be, maybe it's too fun. I don't know. Lord, give me the strength. Anyway, let me get right to it. I'm talking about your man from the Toronto Raptors, Grady Dick. Yes. So I saw a bunch of my fellow fantasy basketball analysts this week did Grady Dick episodes where, I saw a couple of them. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but a few of my fantasy basketball analyst friends were dropping Grady Dick episodes, and thumbnails are like, grab Dick. Like, you gotta ride Dick. I'm like, oh no, it's too good. Anyway, so for basketball, Grady Dick has tons of opportunity right now. So we got Emmanuel Quickly, banged up. Scotty Barnes, banged up. It's just a lot of opportunity, and he's been taking advantage of it. Over the last 7 days, he's averaging 35.8 minutes per game, 24.5 points, 3.8 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.5 steals per game. On the 2nd of November against Sacramento, he dropped 22 points. On the 1st of November, he dropped 31 points. On the 30th of October, he dropped 30 points. Listen, that's a really, really nice trend to follow. He's dropping 20, 25 points like it's nobody's business. On the 26th of October, 25 points. Huh? Let that sink in. Your man, Dick, is for real. So, if you are looking for a player that can distribute the ball, grab yourself some Grady Dick. Okay, next up, and I got a bunch today. And I'm also, last season I did this thing where I do like a rapid fire waiver wire, breakdown, and I give you fire off a bunch of players at the end. We're gonna do that at the end of this episode, so stick around. So the next player I want to talk about is someone that I had high hopes for it, and I kind of lost faith, and now the faith is being restored. The dedication is otherworldly. I'm talking about your boy, Zachary Riset from France, from the Atlanta Hawks. He is going off, only rostered in 16.5% of ESPN leagues. Over the last 7 days, averaging 27 minutes per game, 9 points a game, 4.2 rebounds, 1.2 assists, 1.2 steals. On the 30th against Washington, dropped 17 points. On the 3rd against New Orleans, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. So with a player like Zachary Riset, you're going to have some growing pains because he is a rookie. But there are tons of injuries in Atlanta right now, and the young man is getting some run. So not many, the rookie class this year, they haven't been killing it. So I'm excited to see what he does. Definitely not a must roster type player. Someone you want to monitor, maybe grab, stream, feel out, and just kind of see what he does over the course of week 3. Next up is a player that I don't hear many people talking about, and maybe for good reason. He hasn't really brought the ruckus. He hasn't done any bringing the ruckus Wu-Tang style, but he hasn't quite been hot dog water. He hasn't stunk up the joint. No dumpster juice. No bratwurst residue. Right? Just curious to see what he can do. And I'm talking about the mystery man, the one we want to see get it in. Kyle Filipowski. Huh? What? Robin, who? What? Yes, Kyle Filipowski from the Utah Jazz. Now, as you probably know, Taylor Hendricks, their young power forward, is going to be out for the rest of the season with a gruesome injury. And although Kyle hasn't really got the keys to the car, he did get a start recently, and that is something that is always an interesting indicator for me. So over the last 7 days, he's averaging 17 minutes a game, which is nothing crazy, but it's interesting based on his season minutes per game, which are 14.4. So they've jumped. He's averaging 6.5 points per game, 5 rebounds, 1.3 assists per game. On the 29th of October versus Sacramento, he played 25 minutes, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. So again, not a player that I'm like running out to go get right now as a must add. This is more of a monitoring play, someone you want to pay attention to. He did get a start, his first start of his career recently, so that was a nice signal for me that, hey, maybe this could be something, but this is just someone you want to pay attention to and you want to monitor. This is super important. We need you to be a two-way player. We need you to play offense and we need you to play defense. When you play offense, you are watching our YouTube episodes. And when you're playing defense, we want you to listen to our audio podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. It would really mean a lot to us if you checked out both versions of the show. As noted earlier, I have my rapid fire waiver wire list for you. Let's jump right in. First players, actually the first 2 players. We got a pair of pals, Jordan Hawkins, my apologies, and Jose Alvarado. Jordan Hawkins, Jose Alvarado. Next up, Andre Drummond, with your man Embiid shoving reporters. I don't know if they're going to suspend him, what's happening, but Andre Drummond is a viable fantasy option right now. Jonathan Magbo from the Raptors, Zaire Williams, Anthony Black, Jeremy Sohan, Malik Monk, come on, Cody Martin, Bub Carrington, Toumani Camara, Benedict Mathurin. Now that you know the top waiver wire picks for week 3, check out our episodes about how you can crush setting your lineups. This episode was presented to you by BetOnline.